All right, we are live. Hi, everyone. It's Vina, aka Miss WC Reader, and I'm here with my lovely co host, Shay, and Shay with the Hobbies.
Hey y'all, hey. Happy New Year or whatever.
Yeah, it is the first sprint that I'm doing for the year. And how has your year been so far? I know the month is like halfway over.
It's going like the month is halfway over. That is how my New Year is going so far. Like, yeah, it's almost February already. That's what I got for you. I'm here to
Yeah,
be productive and make up for that.
yeah, I am trying to be productive. So I finished writing my book that I was working on for like 3 years. And so right now I'm just going through and editing some sections before I send it off to beta readers. So my goal today is just to finish working on that because I haven't gotten as much of it done as I wanted to. Because like when you look at your work for a while too much, you and like you're reading it over and over again, you start to get book blindness. So I had to like walk away for like a couple of days. Yesterday I was chilling with my friend who just recently had a baby, so that was a good chunk of my afternoon. And then so now I'm like, okay, I need to send this to betas by Monday, so let's make some progress here.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be doing some reading of my own for one of my critique partners. I need to catch up on and get some reading done on the draft that they're currently working on. So I'll be not doing the same thing that you're doing, but in the same vein of what you're doing. So awesome.
All right, so let's just kick it right off and start with a 15-minute sprint. All right, I'll see you guys in 15. All right. So that was the first sprint. And first thing I had to do was take my makeup off because I had been filming a short and a reel. So if you follow me on Instagram, you should see the little reel that I put up. Go ahead and check it out. It is about a book that I'm really interested in, and if you've been following me, you know that I have not been interested in a lot of 2025 books, but this one caught my attention, and I had to reach out to the publisher to get a copy. How did you do, Shay?
The dogs walked me on that sprint. That's why I'm just now getting back. They walked me, but we all three got our exercise. So there's that.
Exercise is always important. I was able to look over a couple of paragraphs, which was good as well. I was just looking over when I gave it a title now, so I'm not just calling it like the book. So right now it is titled as Project Emerald Moon until I give it a better title. And I am at like a little bit over 101K words, which is a lot. I'm trying to cut down that a little bit. And it's like around 482 pages.
Okay. You and my critique partner. You and my critique partner. Y'all got some thickums. Y'all got some thickums.
Yeah.
Y'all got some. I like big books and I cannot lie. I see.
But here's the thing, I usually don't like big books, and I am like a chronic underwriter, but I ended up overwriting for this. So that's part of the reason too why I got to go in and just like eliminate some unnecessary stuff. But it's like also an ensemble cast. Like, I mean, we're following one main character, but there's a lot of people in it because it's a college. So I had to go through and be like, do I really need this character? They only make like one appearance in this one chapter. They don't have a lot of impact. I think I can just cut out some of their lines and give it to some of the other characters.
Yeah, it's always interesting being like a critique partner and a beta reader and seeing characters get consolidated to other people. I'm always interested when I see like I always find it really intriguing to see how authors can do that and mesh characters together. So I'm curious to like how you'll feel about that like at the very end, like when you do that.
Yeah, well, so far one was pretty easy. I'm just like this character literally only appears in this chapter, and everything that they're saying could be said by somebody else. So I'm just going to give it to the other people. But some of it was hard because it is such a big group of people. And then when you're off at college, I feel like you meet people like who will impact you in that moment, but you might not talk to them ever again. And you have your everyday people, you have your people from different classes, people from jobs, people who just are from your dorm. So you're like interacting with a lot of people on a daily basis.
No, it's always interesting like the people that do stay with you versus the people that don't. Like I was talking to my godson and his girlfriend about that when I went to see him like before they went back to school. And I was like, you'd be surprised. Most people don't stay friends with people from high school. Like there are some people that do and have them, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't stay friends with people from college. Like there are those occasions where you do, but for sometimes it's rare, and it's usually because like the experiences that you have, the things that keep people together in friendships are the fact that you went through something together. And if you don't have those type of situations, then they don't make those lasting impressions. So it's very intriguing how authors write those type of stories for young adults because in a lot of people's lives they don't have as many like character forming friendship bonding moments, at least is what I'm seeing in this newer younger generation. What I've been seeing observing with like my godson and his sister and their group of friends, like it's so different from like our age group and how we develop friendships and whatnot. It's just been really intriguing. So I love getting to see what the writers that I know are putting out as far as friendship to go.
Yeah, and I've been paying attention to that too because I feel like when I read YA, there's not a lot of like that one. There's an emphasis on found family a lot. Like a lot of people are like, oh, found family, but I don't feel like people have like those solid, lasting friendships per
Right.
se. Like you don't see a lot of like strong girlfriend characters.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
And like when I think about like what you said with the most people don't stay friends with the people they were friends with in high school. I talked to one person that like I went to high school with, and that's somebody I've been friends with since kindergarten. So even though she
Right.
moved away, we don't see each other like we still like will catch up like a couple of times a year like hey how are you doing and this and that, send each other stuff for like she sends me her family's Christmas card, I send her kids books and stuff.
Right.
And then like my one friend who I do talk with from college, we actually met freshman year, like in a philosophy class, like that first semester, and we've been friends ever since because we found out we lived like in relatively the same neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So because we like lived in the same neighborhood, we still live in the same city. She only lives like about a 10-minute walk from me. That's how we've been able to maintain our friendship.
No, like so for me, I have almost all of my best friends I've had since before I graduated high school. But I've had very different life experiences than most people that I know before I graduated high school. Like one of my best friends, the oldest one I had that I saw over Christmas break, we've been best friends since I was 12 years old. Our friendship is over 2 decades old at this point. But I met her in the middle of being homeschooled. Like going into high school, going into puberty, right? Like going into all these things. Those
Mm-hmm.
are very like different times for especially a young girl. Like that's gonna stick, right? My best friend Austin, the next best friend, I met him when I was in foster care. That's a huge deal, right? We've been friends since I was 15. That's an 18-year friendship, right? Like there's so many different things that have like happened that have made my friendship stronger. But in all of their lives, I'm the oldest friendship that they had because they
Yeah.
don't have friends from that same period because they didn't have as big of like life changing moments in their lives at these starting points as I did. So like the rest of their friends they have are from being an adult and working and moving and living around. And so it's really interesting just like the ways in which when you're a kid and you're in these friendships and you have your best friends in high school, you do think these are going to be your friends for the rest of your life and y'all are locked in and da 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 da. But you gonna grow up and you gonna learn. And yeah, like outside of the friends that I had and the friends that I had, all of us didn't even go to the same high school. There's literally only one actual person that I went to high school with for more than a year that I talked to. And me and her only talk every now and then because she's kind of usy. Like
Yeah.
you realize
Yeah, and
people
then like you end up dropping some people too who like you feel are only around like if you make the effort.
reasons, right? There's not a reciprocal relationship in that, but those are things that you learn as you get older. Those are things that you don't necessarily know at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23. Like those are things that you learn as you get older and you gain more experiences and you get around more people. So it's those conversations that I am looking forward to seeing happening in books. Um, but I know that they're gonna happen only because I know that I know people who are writing, and I'm just excited for those people's books to get out there, right? Like I'm excited for your book to get out there. I'm excited for my book
Yeah.
to get out there. Like I'm excited for Dejana's book to get out there. Like I'm excited for these books that I know that they're going to explore these things that people don't talk about as much or don't give as much focus and attention to that are just as if not more important.
Yeah, because like you have to really like think about it and kind of have these conversations. And I think a lot of people just aren't thinking about it. They're just like in some ways mimicking what they're used to reading. So it's like there's this idea of like, oh, it has to pretty much read this way. And I'm like, no, we can have other conversations too.
No, like I wish I wish that when I was younger, I would have read a book that talked about grieving friendship. I wish I would have read more books that talked about or showed exploring loyalty in friendships and what that looks like. I wish I would have read more books that explored what it looks like to be in friendships and call your friend out when they're behaving badly, and what it's like to like have to correct your friend when they're doing wrong, and still like love your friend and show your friend that they're doing wrong, but still, if they're not getting their stuff together, walk away from. I wish that there were more things that exhibited the proper way to handle these situations, so I had a better understanding of doing them, right? Because that's the thing. If we are exposed to seeing more positive ways to handle situations, maybe we can encourage a generation to more positively handle the situations that they're seeing. If all you ever see are toxic ways to handle situations, maybe that's the only way you're going to respond.
That is so true, especially because like so many adults don't know how to like call their friends out. Like if they're doing something wrong, like there's a lot of just like blind like going up for your friend, and sometimes these friendships aren't even that close either, and people are still like going,
Man, okay. Whatever, save the judgment for your mama, whatever. My guilty pleasure is baddies. Guilty pleasure, guilty pleasure. I know, whatever. It's my guilty pleasure. And it's getting so guilty that I don't even know if I'm gonna watch the next season because they just doing a lot. They doing a lot. Okay, a lot. But
I've seen clips.
the season before last, there was like this sister dynamic friendship of these two girls, and in the season, you could see that like one was feeling really disrespected by the way the other one was acting. But there was a way that they're like, there's these cameras around. I'm not going to act a certain way. I'm not going to discuss certain things because this is my sister and I'm not handling sister business in front of these cameras. Like, there's just a certain level of, I'm not putting the whole world in our drama. Hey, yo, Titan. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that reminds me of like when I used to watch Love and Hip Hop, and was it Brooke and I can't remember what the other girl's name was. They knew each other outside of the show through Marcus, so they were just like, we're not gonna air each other out on TV.
Like, there's some stuff you just don't do. Like, we can hash this out, we can have our thing, but I'm not playing for these cameras. I'm not doing this. And like, there's always gonna be a level of respect that I have because I'm not. If I rock with you for real in real life, and I really have an issue with you, I'm gonna always come to you in private. I'm gonna always come talk to you. I'm always give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm never gonna stunt in front of cameras, right? And it just was like this reminder that there is just like, we're in a different generation, we're in a different time, but we're also in a place where people don't have these conversations. Maybe somebody has never told you, like, if that's really your friend, if that's really your sister, I'm gonna come to you in love in private and I'm gonna say, hey, this kind of made me feel this way. I just wanted to say, hey, maybe we could get back on the same page. Like, because if you truly love someone, if you truly care about someone, you gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Right? Like, because you're gonna think that it's not their intention to hurt you or do you wrong, right? You don't want to give that image or whatever. But the point of the matter is this is what, first of all, that show is supposed to be for adults. I know for a fact high school kids are watching it. Because the first time I started hearing stuff from the show was from my godson and his friends when I went to visit last year. So I'm like, ain't that what they say on that show?
And that's not surprising because, like, I remember being in like what 8th grade or ever, and watching the Bad Girls Club.
See, I ain't had cable, so I was behind on all of this. I didn't know.
Oh no, I watched Natalie in real time.
No, see, and I watched Natalie like a couple years after when I was in college, when like everything was on reruns and everything. Like, cause I call College Hill like after Langston, right? Like when they were doing the Virgin Islands College Hill, those were the ones that I was on, right? And so I'm catching everything after the fact, and I'm also like, how y'all don't see that this ain't the same Natalie? Like, y'all do know this is a whole different personality. Like, she acted nowhere close to this.
Yeah, I'm like, like elevate her to still have a career is my thing.
Y'all
Somebody who watched in real time the first season, like she was on.
Feel weird as hell. Like that you could go look at this. You could go look and see that she'd acted nowhere close to this. There's no way I could let a girl who acted like she didn't even like being black talk to me like she from the hood ever a day in her life. You could never talk to me like you gonna be. Not I. No. It wouldn't happen. But I mean, like, I was watching it. I just was like, imagine if we had, because again, I think about what I had growing up, right? Like, I did have Moesha. I did have the Parkers. I did have One-on-One. I did have shows where, yeah, we did have an episode where Brandy was a whole asshole to a girl because she was chunky, and we talked about it, right? Like, she was not the good character in that episode, right? Like, we have whole episodes where we're talking about how to call your friends out when they're being bad friends, right? Like these are things that I remember seeing.
Yeah, I feel like we had pretty good rep for at least female friendship on TV and in books. So like, I don't really just see friendship play out the same way. Like I said, there's a lot more emphasis on found family and like these people being your family, but they don't really feel like family to me. I don't feel like sometimes the side characters are always developed well enough. And that's something like I am really curious to see what like my betas say about my book and how the side characters are developed, because I wanted to make sure they held importance to the story and the relationships felt real.
That part. I just feel like that's what in this age we're missing. And I feel like, again, we've talked about this many a times, like people are like, I'm writing the story for me. And it's like, but you're not a kid anymore, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You're an adult. You know, maybe maybe you need to be writing for kids that exist right now. And their need is totally different from yours. Like they need to know how to build friendships. Like truly. Like we are dealing with one of the most disconnected. Hey, y'all don't live in the hood. People can walk outside. Move. Thank you, little light skinny doggy. Thank you. Yeah, you too, Cleo.
Yeah, because I'm like watching the kids in my family who I've watched since they were babies, like kind of grow up and they have their friendships, but like they're on their phone all the time, like playing games or whatever.
Literally, like it is. It's like and you think you're connected because you might always be talking to someone in some way, but you don't know how to have like a whole conversation. Like I listened to my godson and like his friends, and like when I listen, like y'all don't talk to each other nicely, like at all. Like a lot of y'all conversations are like rude as hell. Like, I'm just joking, and I'm just like, I've seen this before. I know what this looks like. Like I've seen motherfuckers play the dozens before, and people really go home with their feelings hurt, but don't want to act like they really upset about what's said, right? And my point gets proven when a couple days later, oh, God, mom, Jada said and I think she being funny and and then oh, he know we be playing, and I think he boosting it. Oh, so now y'all don't know when each other's playing or which one's being serious because y'all play too much.
Yeah.
Because y'all don't know how to have real conversations. Y'all like to make everything a joke because y'all don't know how to communicate. Y'all don't know how to relay full conversations. Y'all, it's just so interesting. And it's weird that, like, people are writing for kids without engaging with kids. That's just such an odd concept for me.
No, it is, because I hear a lot of people that are like, I don't really know how to gauge like what the teens are like into right now. And I'm like, well, have you talked to them, to some random kids? I'm like, but you write for teens. So like where are you going? Like are you observing them in any way? Like you don't have ones in your family, or like you watching like the vlogs these teens be putting online and stuff, because they be living online to like just know what they're even talking about right now.
Right. No, for sure. Like the type of conversations they have. What is
Mhm.
it that they're listening to? How are they moving? What are they liking to do? Like, and the funny part is they are super open generation.
Mhm.
So it's not hard to find out if you do your research.
That's what I'm saying, like, you don't even like, okay, you don't know any directly in person to talk to. There's so many online. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not saying, like, go try and befriend them, but, like, they be blogging, you can observe.
like literally observe and report. It's so interesting. It is. I know I have to get over my own little mental stuff to write for
Mhm.
kids because I definitely just don't necessarily want to do it. But outside of it, really baffling me that the Babysitters Club still sells. That there's never been something that has come along and like been that same thing is insane to me.
Yeah, like, again, I'd be paying attention to middle grade to try and find books for my 11-year-old niece, and it's very difficult. One, because she's just not engaged with a lot of the books, but also so many of the books are so long. I'm like, she does sports on the weekend, so like on a lot of times on Saturday and Sunday, she's not even home most of the day. Like she only but has a small window to read, and you want to find her stuff that will actually make her want to read.
Right now, these new books are so huge. They come out in wide spurts, so you have to wait for the next one and something. It's just not. It's so interesting how unfeasible it is becoming. Like again, we talked about this too. It's making reading a luxury and a privilege rather than a right. And I don't understand.
Yeah, because I've said it. I'm like, in some ways, publishing moves too fast, but in some ways, it's like moving slow at the same time because they don't have a lot of series that just come out multiple books a year, unless you're in like cozy mystery or romance or something. So there's like that gap in between. But at the same time, people are like writing. Like this book that's coming out this year, that author wrote like 3 years ago. They've written two more books in between that time for just to fulfill their contracts.
Yeah. It's just interesting because like even with the Babysitters Club, it's the exact same books. They just update the covers to fit the newer generation's taste.
Yeah.
You mean the same books I was reading almost 30 years ago?
Yeah, like I started rereading the Spiderwick Chronicles at the end of last year. I need to go back in and read book 3, but I read the first two, and like because you can read them in one afternoon. They're very short and they cliffhanger. So like you're not necessarily getting the full story. You're just getting like enough of an intro. This is what happened. Cliffhanger to get you onto the next book. And I'm like, that actually really works well.
No, that's really great.
Because like it was funny even like what reading because I went to the Goodreads page, so there were people like years ago when it came out who were like, I can't believe that they sold this as a book and it's so short. And I saw some librarian comment on it. She's like, no, trust me, I work with kids. They like stories like this that are
Right?
short and easy to consume
Well,
and
and
don't give you too much information.
summer reading program when we first started, you could read, a whole series and get through. Like,
Yeah, because a lot of stuff too I find is like heavy on the info dumping of unnecessary details to like pad out the book.
it definitely felt that way with the way the series of unfortunate books got thicker and thicker as they got longer. But then it was like, what is the point? Because it's getting absurd that y'all don't see that this is Count Olaf in Book 11. Y'all still can't tell that this man is the man with the one eyebrow. Okay, all right, okay, whatever you say. I guarantee you, he got an eye on that ankle. It's the eye on that ankle. But y'all not gonna listen to us because we kids. Okay, okay. Every time I try to finish this series, I begin and I can't never finish because I'm just done with these adults every time. And I like it. I love the book because as a child, it drastically increased my vocabulary. Like
Mm-hmm.
books were great for that. Lemony Snicket had an amazing way of helping kids grow their vocabulary with those books. I thought it was a really smart, persnickety way to do it, and I loved it. But baby, I think that you was just dragging, our our suspension of disbelief for a little too long. Because at some point, y'all had to know this was Count Olaf. At some point, I couldn't do it no more. As a kid, I couldn't do it no more.
Mm-hmm.
So adult me I still ain't finished. I got all of them and still ain't finished.
Yeah, let's get into the second sprint now.
Yeah,
We can chat all day, but I still want to get some work done. So let's start a 20-minute. I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer. See you guys in 20. All right. So I got a little bit more progress that round. I was able to get a chapter like just read and did like some slight changes to some of the dialogue.
Nice, that's nice. I got some stuff sent off, and I got the dogs fed, and I got some stuff cleaned off on my desk because it's more messy over here than I needed it to be to get to focusing and whatnot. So it's productive. I'm thankful for that.
Productive is always important.
Right, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, like no, like it's weird because I'm going through the beginning of the story and I felt like for the past like 2 months I was just mostly reading the second half and I had split the docs too because I was like jumping around a little bit in the story when I was writing. So now I'm also like piecing it back together and it's so interesting to like be rereading the beginning again because I haven't really done that too much since August. And you kind of
Yeah,
see how like the voice of your character changes depending on what they're going through.
yeah. I think it's very important to showing the personality that your character has. And I feel like that's one of the ways you can like tell when a character is flatter. For certain authors, is their personality doesn't shift when the scene has definitely shifted. So their energy, the way they should be, should definitely have adjusted. But I think that's a mark of good character building from an author. So,
Yeah, and like you want your character to have some growth at the end of the book too. I find that interesting when I read the book and like nothing happened to like that changed them. Like I'm just like perplexed. Like they went through all this stuff and they're the exact same person. But I've been noticing that like in some of my more recent reads like I don't have a good sense of who the character is because I feel like things are just happening to them and they're just reacting to them.
and I always wonder if we don't have a good sense of the character, is it because the author didn't have a good sense of the character? Is that why as a reader, getting a bad sense of the character? Is because the author themselves didn't have a good sense of the character that they were trying to put to paper?
Yeah, and then just how some of your ideas worked. Because while I was crafting, sometimes I would get an idea and I would just write it down for later and see if I could incorporate it back into the story. Or, for example, I wrote the ending when the middle wasn't done yet. So, like 2 years ago, I had written the ending. I'm like, okay, so I know I'm going to be working towards this. And it was trying to fit it in. I'm like, okay, it has to end this way. So how do we get to this reveal? How do we go through this journey and make it make sense? Because there's some secrets that kind of come out too, and I'm like, I hope I foreshadowed them well, but like not too much where like you guessed it right away. I feel like that's a good like a hard skill too, like to be able to foreshadow things, but still have it where you can't easily guess what's going on. Because sometimes you'll be reading a book and you know the secret and you're just waiting for it to drop, and it takes like so many pages to get there.
Yeah, I think like that's me so often that I haven't figured out if I'm just really good at guessing that, or if everything I read or watch is really bad at keeping it a secret. Because I almost always figure it out, and I don't know if I'm just really good or they just are very bad at foreshadowing. So I'm trying to figure it out because I
Yeah,
don't
because
want to be very bad at it for my story. Like I don't want people to be able to guess things. I do want you to know that something is off. I do want there to be that foreboding. I know the other shoe is going to drop. I just don't know when feeling. But I don't want you to be able to have called it on page 5 and it don't happen until page 255. That's gonna suck. You got 250 pages where you knew what I was gonna do the whole time. I don't know. That to me wouldn't make me feel good as an author, unless you got to page 255 and you were like, I knew this was gonna happen, but the way you got here was just so fun. It was so heart pounding. I loved it because that for me is good. If I guessed it, but you still got me there, and I was blown away by how you got me there, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with guessing it. If I still wouldn't have figured out how you got me there, like I would have never have put it together that way. I'm fine with that. And I would be okay with that if that's what happened for my readers. I just don't want it to be so blatantly
Yeah, and you are pretty good at guessing them because I remember with that one book we read that we can't stand, you guessed what the twist was before the end.
the way that you said that, and I couldn't figure out which book you were talking about
Oh,
is the funny part. It was like that book we didn't like, and you guessed it was the end. Which book would that be? Because there were a few.
there,
There
there,
were a
there were a few.
like there were quite a few. Man.
But that one that everybody else loved, that we hated.
The
I
gentrification weed book, that one.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
I
That
didn't
one.
guess the end, but also like I was kind of bored. Like reading
No,
it.
because it was getting very boring. Hey, again, other people are allowed to be in the parking lot. We've discussed this. Yeah, but they can be there. They actually pay rent. You don't. You don't
I
pay
was
rent
more
either.
engaged. I would have like known.
Right. No, I just was like, this is feeling. This is feeling way too not haunted housey for me. Yeah, leaning too hard on the haunted house that I just feel like the house ain't haunted. You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
Which is a disappointment because I love a good paranormal.
I love it. That man, the way I was so glad that Delicious Monsters, the house was just an evil house.
Oh
Why?
yeah, I
You
haven't had
don't
a good
know.
evil house in a while because I feel like every time I pick up a book where such and such is supposed to be haunted, it's haunted by some ghost of the main character's past, and it has to tie into slavery and
Yeah.
like all types of stuff, or like it's not actually really haunted to begin with. Like the magic is just not there,
Yeah, no. That house is just eating people.
and I'm
I was
like,
like, okay, I'm fine with that. Like, why? We don't know. When did it start? We don't know. Is there a reason? We don't know. Okay, cool. It just exists. You know what? I'm not mad at it. Truly, I'm not mad at it. Because once you start digging into it, then it's just, okay. It's just this evil house that exists and draws people in. And I'm fine with it.
I think we need more of that. It doesn't always have to be some great ancestor from like the like
Right.
slavery or the civil rights era or whatever who got killed and is
Right.
haunted.
Right. Like it truly. Because honestly, y'all don't even do those justice. Like I'm be perfectly honest. My ancestor would be way more creative than some of y'all. Let me just tell y'all. My you met me because I know my ancestors would have been way more creative because some of y'all is just boring. Okay, hey, mine would have had some fun. All right,
And
mine,
also, I'm like, why is your ancestor trying to scare you like that?
man, because I have come up with this premise of comedic horror short stories. Like, because y'all, I think collections are just gonna be what I do while I try to figure out how to finish a novel. Because here's the thing, I can finish a short story.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good. It'll be good. It'll give you a good little ride. Vina, will it? It'll give you a good little ride. Do you concur? It'll give you, it won't be a long ride, but it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one, right? And one of the premises is one of an author's great grandchild decides to publish their journals because they didn't got kicked out of the family, will, and they, on this land is the only thing they inherited. They found their famous great grandmother's journal. and is willing to publish them for money. And that ancestor comes back.
Oh, well, that is a reason that your ancestor should
That
be
would
trying to
be
scare
a
you.
great reason. A great reason for our ancestor to come back. And it'll be a hilarious short story, let me tell you. I'm working on it. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, now that you said that makes sense. But most of the time, like their ancestors just
But y'all
haunting them
be
for no reason.
writing stuff like that. Y'all be writing some of the most horrific shit. Like y'all are triggering the hell out of us. Y'all not even triggering out the. Y'all know what I was about to say. Y'all not even triggering the people that need to be triggered. You're triggering us. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I just no.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming a thing where I'm like, I'm horrified, and
I'm horrified, but not the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
Not the way I want it to be. I wanted to enjoy a horror, but not this horror. Like I just don't understand it. And here's the truth. You know, I watched this interview and it was about, you know, it was Denzel and he was like, you wouldn't do that about the Holocaust. So like why? Like do y'all truly be going and seeing people write like truly like Holocaust survivor horror short stories? Horror novels? No.
Yeah, I don't know where those are at.
No. So why do y'all allow them to convince y'all that y'all need to write those for them to sell? It's something for you to think about, because you ain't gonna ever convince me that's what I need to write.
Yeah, and I said too, like, I'm kind of over hair being a character in books. Like, because it feels like hair is a character in a lot of books and it's taking up way too much space. And I'm like, I never thought about hair this much in my life.
It's the natural hair wave in books, like when it first started all over again. Like it's that wave of, oh, you truly love yourself if you're natural. Oh, you're truly writing a black book if you talk about black hair. Like that shows that it's really a black book. You're like, you truly care about black imagery and black positivity if you include black hair in your book. If there's a moment in your movie where somebody's getting their hair washed or hair braided, then that's like you're showing the greatest moment of blackness in your stuff. Like,
and you know what? It's funny because I was in college during like that one wave of the natural hair movement, and I don't feel like nobody talked about like that offline. Online in the natural hair community, I'm sure.
Yeah, but like offline, like no, like it was like I remember
like, oh, your hair looks really nice, and you're like switching it up, or like recommendations for products, but it wasn't none of that other mess.
I remember it becoming a thing, and I remember like people like, Cache, why are you not natural? Like you use the creamy crack. First of all, you're not gonna make me feel no type of way because I was natural when y'all were calling me African booty scratcher and y'all were calling knotless braids dookie braids. Like I remember those moments. Like y'all done gave everything a new braid, the the lemonade braids, or I remember when it used to be called fishbone. Like y'all are calling stuff all whole brand new names and everything else because y'all are just now deciding to love y'all blackness and y'all natural hair now.
Also, like a lot of people keep getting it wrong. They keep getting it wrong and saying like, "Oh, relaxer will make your hair fall out." That's not necessarily true. It's doing it wrong. My hair did break up because of relaxer because my mom was doing it wrong.
Most people's parents were doing it on my hair, and she was doing it relaxing the hair that was already relaxed. You're not supposed to do that. You're only supposed to do the new growth. Most people were doing it way too often. They were doing it 4 to every 6 weeks, which that's way too often for our hair type. Nobody was thinking about that stuff. Like, I only know this because I come from a long line of hairdressers. There was a reason my grandmother never put chemicals or relaxers in our hair because she came from that era and knew a lot of things, right? Like
Yeah,
there
and
was
truth be
a
told, I didn't
whole
need to put it in my hair. It's just like
right.
my mom thought it would be easier for me to be able to manage my hair. But because like when I was going through puberty, it was like changing up a little bit. It was harder for me to manage. But then, like once I went natural, I was able to manage it pretty well. I'm like, oh, it's not as like thick or like hard to work with as I thought. But like I have family members who live in the Caribbean and they still relax their hair and their hair is longer than mine.
Right. No, like I know I've known people with relaxed hair like down past their behind. Like it's just I've known like my grandmother, everyone in my family had locks before having locks was this big thing, right? Like these are all things that for me, I was like, we've been on these waves, we've had these waves long before it was cool to be on these. So it doesn't make me feel any type of way. These aren't markers of black.
But also, and I never forget this, when I remember like years ago, we went to Guyana and we were visiting my mom's sister, and she was like on her fake Rasta journey, got her locks and stuff. And my mom's like, she just really doesn't want to do her hair. That's why she got it. That's why she's on this fake Rasta journey. She doesn't want to do her hair. And I've noticed now a lot of people are getting locks because they don't want to have to deal with their hair. Like, but it's still seen as like this, oh, if you have locks, you are like closer to your blackness or whatever. No, it's literally like a lot of people are getting them because they don't want to do their hair.
Right? And to me, that's I don't know
And
where
some
that
of them are
mindset
openly admitting it,
came
like I
from.
don't want to do my hair. So
Right.
I got tired of doing my hair, so I got.
And that's crazy to me because like you still have to do your hair. What are you talking about? Like you still need to keep your hair. Like I don't. People just
Like
say stuff
they just
that
don't
can be
want like
like
the daily maintenance
crazy.
of having to do their hair.
Right, but you like you don't daily have to do your hair when your hair is in braids. Like y'all just be saying stuff. Like truly, y'all just be saying stuff because y'all haven't really went through the work of having these things, right? Because if you don't do something with your locks over a period of time, these things are gonna become matted. And we have seen videos of people not doing stuff with their life, and people gotta detox your hair because you got mold and all kind of like, bruh. And to me, it's disrespectful to act like you do locks because you lazy, bro. Why?
That's the new wave that I'm
But
seeing
no,
though.
it is. It is. And that's to me, that's why I'll be like, I can't even oh, you got locks. Oh, you down with your blackness. I don't
Not no.
even
That that
no, I don't
that's
no.
what we thought, and that wasn't true.
You know what I think? I think I'm gonna look at your action. I think that's what I'm gonna do because you could just be a lazy nigga. Like that could be the truth.
Like we
You could
really
just think
thought,
Lil Wayne is cool.
yeah. No, that's like some other people's reasons too, and it's funny because when people were saying that before, we're like, no, that's not true. No, actually, it is.
No, Lil Wayne influenced a whole culture of dudes. Like, what are I don't understand. Why are we acting like that's not true? Right? Like, no, that's a whole thing. Are
Yeah,
we
no,
gonna act like? Are we gonna act like Beyonce and Brandy didn't influence a whole generation of micro braids? Like there's definitely that wet and wavy micro braids was a whole generation for black women. Like, what are we talking about?
yeah, no. A lot of guys became dreadheads because they saw Lil Wayne.
Literally, like, come on now. Literally, dudes are doing freeform crazy locks now because J. Cole and Jay Z
Yeah.
and Kodak Black and and they look insane, but whatever.
Hmm.
Like you look like you don't care, and to me, I don't like that you look like you don't care.
Yeah, I'm not particularly a fan of that. Like honestly, I
And
feel like
it's not because I've seen
yeah.
beautiful freeform locks. So it's not that I have a problem with freeform locks. I have a problem with the thought that looking like you don't care means that you're against the establishment. Y'all are black capitalists. Shut up.
Hmm.
Like y'all are really you're a black billionaire. Close like shut up. Shut up. You are literally you walking around like who did it and what for does not make a statement. Trust me. It doesn't. Like that don't make me feel no type of way. It just looks like you trying too hard to look like you going against the grain when we all know you're not. Like that's what you know what I mean? Like it's just irritating to me. Like and y'all we've already talked about how never mind, I ain't gonna say that out loud. You know, the locks is a touchy subject.
I always think though about what was it when I tried to watch The Other Black Girl? I don't know if you tried to watch the show.
No, you know I didn't.
I think of like the oh my gosh, the hair for something I talk about hair so much. The hair was so bad in the show. Like I don't know why they couldn't just do like the crochet locks for Hazel, but whatever they had going on her head was not it. And then Nella had an afro wig, but like I remember there was this one scene, my friend and I still make fun of it. They had her wearing a scarf over her little afro, and she took that scarf off and the hair did not move. And I'm like, first of all, why did she pineapple an afro like that? You don't pineapple.
I don't want to know why you didn't bring a comb and pick it back out if it was just going to stay in it.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you're gonna take off your scarf, your afro pick should be ready. But like,
but also, you
don't pineapple type 4 hair.
Cause it's like
it doesn't work. Like I have looser hair than that, and I still can't pineapple my hair because it won't stay and like fall back into place.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna give it a try. The only show from a book that I've seen Hulu do or that's come to be able to be watched on Hulu that I'm gonna give a chance is Black Cake. Because I'm not watching Kindred. I'm not doing Kindred. I'm not doing the other Black Girl.
I refuse to do Kindred. Like Black Cake, I will say there's a lot of like, traumatic things that did happen to her, but they did that show really well. Yeah, and like care was taken, and they didn't just like immediately throw you into the trauma.
Yeah, I heard really, really good things about Black Cake.
But I feel like that was just like a really well done show. I refuse to go watch Kindred, and I never finished The Other Black Girl.
Yeah, I was not gonna give that Other Black Girl a shot at all. It's not.
Especially because I feel like I was lied to with Kindred. I think it was you who pointed it out, how nobody ever talks about how the husband
Nobody
is
talks about the fact that she got a white husband. Nobody.
When you said that to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what's in the book? Like, I didn't know.
Told me, bruh, I said, what now? How come ain't nobody ever brought this up? Ain't nobody ever said nothing about this.
They'd be like, read Kindred. And then like you and Dietrich telling me all this dramatic stuff. Like I knew it was gonna be heavy, but y'all are telling me all this other stuff happened.
But it didn't went way down on my list of have to reads, let me tell you. Not only oh man, it just sounds like it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's a lot.
Like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm ready for that one
at all. Y'all was not honest about the content in this book, and I just don't think letting people go into stuff willy-nilly is fair. I'm gonna tell somebody, hey, you're gonna read this, and let me tell you the stuff that could possibly throw you off, because it threw me off a little bit, truthfully. Like that would be how I would be. I don't know. So again, shout out to Deidre. I love you, girl, because she definitely told me, and I was like, that's gonna go down on the list. I've been trying to get to Fledgling because I haven't heard too many people talk about that one, but I've heard.
Is that the one, the last one?
Like I don't know if it's the last one, but it's the last one like she wrote. Black vampires.
Yeah, that's the last one she wrote.
I've heard like mixed reviews on it. Like part of some people say it's anti-black, and then so I was curious, like, huh?
Yeah, so from what I remember from Fledgling is it's because it's the last book she wrote, and I think it published around the time she passed or something like that. So people don't feel like enough time went into it.
Gotcha.
And but they say that that's not her best one.
And then there's one that there's the book that she didn't want. She wanted removed from publish. publishing, and I want to make sure that I don't read that book
Hmm.
because I thought a lot about it. Like, ooh, I'm really curious about the book that she wouldn't want read. But then the more that I write, the more as a writer, I can't see me disrespecting that.
Yeah.
But like, I can honestly say, if I publish something and I didn't realize the damage or what it could do, and I wanted it to not be published anymore or anything like that. Like, and I would want it to not be
Hmm.
read or whatever. Like, I would want that on it. And for what I have heard her referred to as like, the mother of science fiction and whatnot for our community and whatnot, there's no way I wouldn't respect that wish. So I just want to make sure I don't read that book. But I also
Yeah.
want to know more of why she felt that way about that particular story because I'm curious about that. Because I said, hey, chill out. I said about Georgia Schuyler, like if you knew what people were using your words for later on in life, would you have still said those things? Would you have allowed those things to be published? And I do feel like some people do get to be alive long enough to see how their things might get distorted. And would you still do you still feel it strongly, right? Because I mean, we can all think that we're doing something right in the moment, but we all grow and learn, and maybe experiences tell us later on in life we don't feel the same, right? I feel like I'm on the right side of history with everything that I think and feel right now at 34.
Person that just came out, and I guess it's finished by somebody else. So I'm
Mhm.
really curious about that because like she didn't get to finish it, and this is years and years later. You're putting out this book by her,
Yeah, see, that would make me feel weird.
but it's like a big book that's getting buzz right now, and I'm like, they're like never before published book by Zora Neale Hurston. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Like I want to read more about who's behind it, why it's being published. Like I said, it seems to be co-authored now. Like somebody went in and finished it.
is it essays or is it a book of fiction? What is it?
No, it's supposed to be a book of fiction.
Uh,
It's based off of Herod the Great.
hmm, hmm. Yeah, I would feel weird about that. I would have to know more. I would
Yeah, so I need to personally, before I
right.
read it, just like get more background,
Right. I'm right there with you.
do my research. What is her estate saying? Like I need to know.
Right.
Because I'm like, that's interesting too, going in and finishing somebody else's work that they never got to finish.
Right. You want to do another sprint?
Yeah, let's do one more. So let's do a 30-minute sprint.
I'm with you.
All right. Go ahead and set the timer up. See you guys in 30. All right. So that was the last sprint. And I made some good progress during that one. Found a contradiction too that I had to rewrite. I'm like, oh, this doesn't match something else that happens later in the book. So I had to go reword some stuff and take out some stuff there. How was that sprint for you, Shay?
I got some more stuff done, and then I realized that Titan had really messed up my rug and got a lot of hair on it. So then I had to sweep it, and that was a little bit of a workout. So I had to open the door for a little bit, let some cool air because it is cold as I'll get out in Oklahoma right now. But it is
How
hot as
cold is it there? It's pretty cold up here.
let me look and see what it's saying right now. We're supposed to get another cold storm, a cold wind this weekend. Okay, so it's not as cold as I thought it was. It's 56 right now, but then this weekend
We had a little bit of snow earlier.
Yeah, we had snow a few days ago, or like a week ago. But we supposed to go down to a high of 27, low of 16 in a couple of days. So there we go. Like,
Yeah.
So hopefully no snow, but you never know. You never know. Okay.
No, we're supposed to go down to a low of 3 sometime next week without snow, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh, that's crazy. Not a low of 3. Yeah, the lowest we have is 16 for the next 3 days, but that's as of today. I don't know what that's gonna stay later on. So there's that.
Like I haven't seen like a January this cold in a while. Like it's actually reminding me of when I was in college and we had like the polar vortex the one year. It was just freezing every day.
No, I was saying that. I was like, this snow is nice because it snowed, it stuck for one day, it was gone the next. Like when I was in college, we had like blizzards, like 8 inches. We didn't go to school for like a week and a half. Like this isn't the same. So I'm fine with like snow for a day. Snow for a day.
Yeah, I'm fine with the snow for a day. I mean, the kids don't love it. They can't really play in this, but
right, like they want to build snowmen, and it's definitely not enough to build a snowman. But and my dogs don't love it. Like Cleo is fine. Titan does not like. He is like, why are my paws wet? Why? What is this? What is? I don't like this. So Titan does not. He's not a fan at all.
Yeah, I'm okay with it just being like, especially because I gotta go back to work like in person next month, and I don't need it to snow anytime during February.
Yeah, I don't want it to snow in February, and I definitely want it to be done snowing before March. Like my little sister's daughter's first birthday is in March. My little brother's first daughter, her 16th birthday is in March. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in March. I just really, spring break is in March. I'm hoping to take my godson to tour his top Texas schools for spring break.
That'll be interesting.
Right, because he wants to be a vet, and so Texas A&M is like top on his list, and so want to hit a few other spots. And his grandparents on his dad's side lives in Houston, and he lived with them while he was in middle school, so he hasn't got to see them physically in a while. And I know there's a couple schools in Houston on his list, so I want us to go down there and get to see them.
Oh, that would be fun. I want to go to Houston someday.
Yeah, I do not like Houston traffic, so there's that. And I don't like Houston heat, so there's that. So I'm just
I heard the heat is brutal. I have a couple family members who live down there. You used to live in Texas too, right?
Yeah. I lived in DFW area, which is where he lives now. And then I interned in San Antonio, so I was there for like a whole summer. And San Antonio is also hot, but San Antonio is a different type of heat than Houston heat. Like Houston felt sweltering, like it felt oppressive. And then San Antonio just felt dry. Like it was like, if I can get in the shade, I'll be okay. And Houston was just, no, I need air conditioning right now before I want to kill somebody because it's too hot. So like, are you breathing in my direction? Why? Like, yeah, I was not a fan. And the traffic made it that much more unbearable because it's like people everywhere.
Yeah, I heard traffic in Houston is bad. They're like, it's one of those places you don't want to really have to drive.
Yeah, you don't. Like, can somebody else drive, please? Can it not be me? So yeah, I don't want to be dealing with ice. if I have to take him somewhere in March. I don't want that. Because even in DFW, they had a little bit of snow. Like, he didn't start, they delayed the starting of school for them because of this. And I was like, what? Oh, no.
Yeah, I was surprised, like, too, like, Atlanta had more snow than we had last week. And, like, we had, like, a sprinkle, and it melted, like, within a couple of hours the same day. They had, like, enough to make a snowman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, North Carolina got snow. South Carolina got snow. I was so surprised at all the places that got snow. It was, like, really, I was like, wow, like, everybody getting snow for real, for real. It was different.
Yeah. Well, since that was our last sprint, I think we should end it here.
All
So,
right.
do you have any projects or anything that you're working on? Anything we can expect from you?
Well, it's almost time for the Missy Elliott Readathon announcements to come out. You'll be hearing from me and the host as soon as I start reaching out to people and giving the stuff out. Kwanzaa kind of flew by because life was lifing, but I'm not gonna let Missy Elliott Readathon pass us by because year 4, oh my gosh, it's about to be a
Yeah.
thing. So
I was just thinking, like, Black History Month next month, I want to get some recs and stuff out there. I need to
right,
get
like
to
we
it.
got stuff right, exactly. So I'm trying to get everything together so everybody can start getting their recs together. They can start putting
Mhm.
their readathon list together. So yeah, so that's what we can expect. I am gonna drop a what I've been doing, what's going on 2025 goal list video within a week. So within a week y'all should get a video for sure. And then of course y'all will get the Missy Elliott readathon video before February 1st. So y'all get 2 videos in the next 2 weeks. So there we go. Y'all get
All right.
all right.
Yeah, my life is about to be very busy. So I'm trying to get my stuff done in January. And like I said, I am focusing on just finishing revising to send off to betas. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a break from this story. We just focus on my reading and maybe revisit that Christmas romance that I had started and kind of
Okay.
pushed to the wayside. But yeah, thank you everybody who was like popping in and out here, everybody who's watched on the replay. And see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.